Well, I heard two men talking on the radio in a crossfire kind of new reality show, uncovering the ways to plan the next big attack. Well, they were counting down the ways to stab the brother in the be right back. After this, the unavoidable kiss with a minty fresh damp breath that's sure to outlast this catastrophe. Dance with me, cause if you got the poison, I've got the remedy. The remedy is the experience. This is a dangerous.
All right, 434, our weekly standoff with Kevin Scholla. Normally we have this on Thursday, but Kevin is in remorse and depression over this weekend's games that he had to come on early and share his thoughts with us. Kevin is a sports anchor, announcer, reporter, Breitbart columnist, and the host of the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. Hey, you're not really in remorse. Everything you pick wins, man. How do you do that?
Yeah,
I'm going to call you up next. I'm going to call you up next season if I bet on some things, and because you even got the points too.
I can only speak for myself, but I don't know any Bears fans that are in remorse after seeing Green Bay tortured like that.
Hey, man, did you see that, Kevin? They down to the 2 or 3 minutes were left of the game. They thought you could just tell. I've been on the sidelines as a football player. You could tell the way they were kind of talking and smiling at each other. They thought they were Super Bowl bound. It was,
yeah.
Oh, man.
Super Bowl bound and a huge upset and, beating the mighty Seahawks in their own building after hearing all week how they couldn't. And
yeah.
Listen, for the first, 50-whatever minutes of the game, they did everything they had to do, but that's why you play the whole game. And, it's funny. Sitting there, obviously you thought Green Bay was going to win, but you look at Seattle and you just had that in the back of your head. You said, let's just see what happens, make sure they get the onside kick, because this is the one team that if it does bounce their way, you could see them doing it. And then they scored too early because Green Bay was able to come down and tie it and send it to overtime. So what an incredible game.
I was thinking about that. Was there a way, I was thinking, was that good clock management? It's easy for me to second guess, but I'm going to get your thoughts on that. Was there, in hindsight, some better clock management that could have taken place to make sure that Green Bay didn't have the time, or is that just one of those situations, it's just the cards they were dealt?
Yeah, Seattle had to score, and they had to score a touchdown. If they were lining up for a field goal or something along those lines, you could see that, but they had to make sure, first things first. It's kind of like saying, oh, who do we pitch in Game 7? We have to hold a guy back for Game 7, but you got to win Game 6 first.
Right.
So, I really think they had to punch that ball in the end zone, so you can't kill them on that. But, you circle a few plays there. Everybody's talking about the onside kick and this poor guy Bostic who missed his assignment. But you know what? The Packers had many chances to salt that thing away. What about the two-point conversion? Where, Wilson is running around and then he throws this ball up and it's in the air forever, and somehow Seattle comes down with it on a circus play. So, people can talk about Bostic all they want, but I don't think he goes down as a Bartman or a Buckner type because it's funny they all start with B's, but I just don't think so because there were so many other things that could have happened and should have happened. It's just so un-Packer-like to let one slip away like that.
They did. Wilson caught him sleeping, man. That on that. What you call that? What do you call that? The fake field goal, and he was just that linebacker was just sleeping over there, and he just ran. Our Seattle guy ran in the end zone and snatched it up. It was, and that you said his name, the guy who on the receiving end of that onside kick. Wow, what an embarrassment, though. But I agree with you. It never boils down to necessarily one play or one mistake. If you look back over the game, you can say, well, this should happen, that could have happened, here's some mistakes here. But unfortunately, the guy feels pretty bad about the whole thing.
Yeah, his assignment was to block. He was supposed to block, and Jordy Nelson was supposed to catch the ball. But, you're a tight end. You go up, and all of a sudden the ball's right there, and instincts take over, and I think it was one of those deals where he thought, well, what do I do? And, this is all within split seconds. And then by the time he was able to go for it, he was already coming down and hit him in the head.
Yeah, it was Oh, well, that's the way it goes, though, right? And the game ain't over till it's over. So the other game, of course, that was just a big blowout, New England. You picked it, though. You said New England and the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. I've got it written down here from 4 weeks ago. So now, who's going to win the Super Bowl?
Well, we got a little while, right? A couple of weeks.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's funny, the line in Vegas had them as a pick'em, and
right.
That could certainly change by the time it starts. But never has a Super Bowl game kicked off as a pick'em in the history of the Super Bowl.
Okay, I didn't know that.
So this is about as even as you can get.
I do know one trivia fact, that the statistic, and that is that out of the last 7 Super Bowls, the underdog has won. And don't know what that means for Seattle and New England, but thought I'd throw that out there.
Has won the game or has covered the spread?
No, has won the game. It didn't talk about covering the spread, but out of the last 7 Super Bowls, the underdog, I forget the one that where it didn't happen, but the underdog has won the game. So I don't know.
So 6 out of 7, or the last 7?
Out of the last 7 Super Bowls, 6 have gone to the underdog. That was what I read.
Oh, okay. So then obviously it was the 16-0 Patriots that were the favorite that they lost, obviously, and then if you go back and think about it, wow, how about that?
Yeah, thought it was an interesting piece of trivia. So hey,
well,
go ahead.
Yeah, it's just an unbelievable matchup on so many levels. I just think it could go either way. I'm sticking with Seattle for sure, but New England is a team that it's a little bit of a renaissance there with Brady and Belichick. I mean, they're the only two who've been there for all of these appearances since 2001, and I think there's only one other player on the entire roster that was on any of the title-winning teams other than Brady. But for those two, they're certainly going to give it all they have. But, Seattle, unless it's an injury thing, you got to look at Sherman right now and other things. They look to be poised to do this. And after what they escaped with Green Bay, it proves they can, do a Houdini act if they have to.
Oh, Wilson, man, he was going to be a baseball player. And they offered him $1 million when he was, 18 years old? And then he decided, no, I'm going to go play football. And who would have thought that at 5'8" or whatever he is, 175 pounds soaking wet, could have been an NFL Super Bowl champ maybe twice.
Oh, yeah, and every time they say what he can't do, he just keeps doing. He's too, like you said, he's too short. Oh, he's too this, he's too that, he's not enough this, he's not enough that. Well, you know what? It's supposed to be about winning, and with him it is. And, it's funny you mentioned his baseball career because he kind of alluded to that. He was very emotional at the end of that championship game and talking about all the sports that he's ever been involved in and saying on every level that this team is just unmatched when it comes to, the belief and the drive and the teamwork. And, how can you argue with them? They've done it so far.
Hey, let's jump to another subject. We have Governor Palin got in the mix with the American Sniper movie. I don't know if you've seen it yet, but I went and saw it Saturday. What I don't know the words to describe it. It was just awesome, unbelievable, impressed, proud, patriotic. It's nice to know that we still have American heroes. I guess that's enough. And then, of course, Michael Moore calls snipers cowards. Sarah Palin, who you host on the radio show, what did you think when she got in it, called out Michael Moore and all? Give us some thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, she was, dead on as usual. And these guys they're just pathetic, aren't they? Michael Moore, Seth Rogen. You're going to talk about American heroes. Anytime you have this slob Moore, who's, been nothing but a guy. Yeah, he's just a disgusting person inside and out who just tries to, cause trouble everywhere he goes and does a good job at that. Seth Rogen, a Canadian, very unfunny actor who, makes his money off of the masses of, the Obama voters, the low information folks. And here they are talking about an American hero. But, it's a product of the culture. We talked about this last week. Look at President Obama. All of these tributes to everybody under the sun, Robin Williams, Stuart Scott, you name them, but not a peep about Chris Kyle, a guy who actually went out there and fought for Americans.
No, did President even go to his funeral or nothing, anyways. But
Sarah Palin did. Palin did with Todd Palin on Sarah Palin's birthday. Was able to go there to a memorial and make sure you talked about a guy who certainly deserved everything. And then, you have these, let's not forget another, you look up disgusting in the dictionary, you see Jesse Ventura there, that's for sure. A guy who's suing Chris Kyle, and now after his death, still pursuing it to his widow and children. I mean, how pathetic can these people be that they're this sick that they would go after a patriot like that and the family of a patriot like that? But it's great to see the money that the movie's raking in. Woo! It's great to see that it was portrayed the way that I think Kyle's family had hoped it would be, because you never know what's going to come out of Hollywood, no matter who's in charge of it there. But that's really, really good news, and it's great to see that people are really flocking to the box office.
Yeah, we're speaking with Kevin Scholla. He's a Breitbart columnist and host of the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. You can check him out on a couple different places there. So, Kevin, where do you think – I want to ask you this. Did you also hear that through a divorce proceeding with Michael Moore, some of his finances were disclosed? And, he's always against the rich. Wall Street people that have earned a lot of money in their life are all, they're below the dirt. And it comes to find out that he actually owns a multi-million-dollar mansion. He's a multi-millionaire. What is that? What's your take on all this? That guy runs down people that are rich, calls them scumbags, and he himself is a multi-millionaire.
Yeah, it's a P.T. Barnum deal. I mean, all these guys are snake oil salesmen. I mean, look at Al Gore with the climate change and the energy. And meantime, he doesn't even have solar power in the one home. And Al Sharpton running around in the ghettos and telling people all these things and then going back to his white country club friends. You see this from all these guys. They go out there, they say what they need to say to make headlines, and, they have nothing else to offer other than flap their gums. And, Michael Moore, I mean, look, a lot of these guys have complexes from a long time ago. I mean, take a look at Chris Kyle, okay? Yeah, good-looking man, a family man, a hero. And then look at Seth Rogen. He looks like Shrek. And then this fool from Michigan State with this hat and the showering's an option, obviously. And there's obviously something that's been there a long time.
Tell us how you really feel, Kevin.
It's one of those, Eddie, of, let's get back at everybody now, as if we did this to these guys. And we see this again and again. Like we've talked about before, the guys in the basement. Well, these are guys who just happen to get lucky and get Hollywood careers, but they're still guys in the basement at heart. They're
in the basement and scratching. Hey, let's take a break, man. I got to pay some bills here, brother. Kevin Scholla, he's a Breitbart columnist and the host of the Palin Update on Mama Grizzly Radio. We'll return with him right after this.